Welcome to the Rod of Iron podcast, Fundamental Baptist, breaking down discussions, dogma, and daily events. I am your host, Pastor Bruce Mejia, First Works Baptist Church, joined by the fundamentalists of our church, Brother Haigtov Macian, Brother Cody Hauk, and at the board we have Brother Ulysses Hernandez. This is episode 1 of season number 5. You said, what happened to all the other episodes in season 4? What other episodes?
What's season 4?
What's season 4? It's a hiccup of a season. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and forget about it. It's a new year, new me, new podcast, amen. So 2024, season 5, episode 1, and this evening we're gonna talk about. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the Crunchy Mamas as an introduction, but we're mainly going to focus on the Jews and their tunnels.
What?
This is a really big thing going on right now. That's what we call it. And so we're looking forward to a great episode tonight. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Yep. Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do it. Well, good evening, gentlemen.
How's it going?
Should I say what I typically say? It's been a while, but we're back. Took a little break. I got to say all the cliches of the
little
of the
hiatus.
Little hiatus, little Sabbath, little sabbatical. I got to say all the cliches that I typically say. Did you check the cameras? Mas Cafe. That one's for Pastor Shelley. And what else? Did I forget anything?
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Oh, dang.
See, joke's on you.
See what happens when you try to be funny?
That's why we need to bring it up again.
See, this is why I have to constantly talk about it, because apparently you're not getting it. No, I'm just kidding. It's Genghis Khan.
Is it really?
I thought it was Genghis. Me too.
Boy needs to put a J in
It's
front
because
of
you guys
his
don't
name.
read. It's because you guys don't read. That's why. It's Genghis Khan. So, you guys bring your Stanley Cups or what?
My wife's got one.
No.
Yeah, my wife's got 2.
Oh, dang.
I love my wife more. Just kidding. I got her a tank of a Stanley. It's like a Stanley. I don't even, what do you call it? It's not even a tumbler anymore, right? What is that? Like a jug?
Wasn't it the gallon one?
It's like a 65-ounce one, I think. And then she has her regular girly one. The very pastel, pink.
Oh, yeah, my wife's pink as well.
Yeah.
I got my wife hers like a year ago before all the real big controversy came up, yeah.
What controversy are you talking about?
I don't know. There just seems to be a lot of people that hate this cup. I don't know.
Stanley's originally started out as a male
Dominated cup.
thermos and then transitioned to becoming, I guess that's not a good word, huh? Transition. Became like a woman's cup. But ladies love that cup. They just, I actually don't know why they do.
Just the trendy thing right now.
It's a trendy thing. But are all trends really bad though?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, can we say that trendiness is like sinful in and of itself? To be trendy? Just because something popular comes up and you just join it? You know
Especially when it's like a water cup. I mean,
yeah, like basically, like if it makes you drink more water.
sounds pretty good. And it's like a little fat. The
Does
ladies
it though?
like it. It's all fashionable.
Ladies like
stuff.
it. They look fashionable. What'd you say?
It makes you drink more water?
Well, if you own one, it's to put water in and you carry it around because you want to, not you. I'm talking about
The
women.
universal.
Yeah, the women, they carry it around and they like to look trendy with it, but if it has water, they're going to drink out of it. You know what I mean? So,
My wife drinks a lot more water nowadays.
yeah,
'cause of that
so
Stanley
does
Cup.
my wife because of it. I feel like it serves its purpose. And in my opinion, if you need to spend a little couple extra dollars to get a little more discipline in a certain area, why not? Even
It's a
if
good gift
trendy.
for a husband to give to a wife too. It's kind of
Oh, yeah.
It just
They love
Sometimes
it.
husbands are like, "What do I get?" It's like, it's like a really
and it's
easy
girly.
one to get. Yeah,
It's girly. It's very girly, you know? I mean, I don't really know what girly is, but I just, whatever my wife has, I just consider to be girly because she's a very girly woman. And so, you know, looks stylish, trendy. I don't want one.
I got a Yeti.
I don't want to, because I know they have like the male versions
Yeah,
of the Stanley, but I feel like Stanley now is like a woman's.
yeah. I don't think a guy could get a Stanley.
You don't want to be a Stanley boy.
I don't want to be a Stanley boy. But you got to take it easy because there's a couple guys in our church that have Stanleys, I think. If I'm not mistaken. In fact, this empty seat to the left of me, I think I think he has a Stanley Cup.
I'm sure it's navy blue. I'm sure it's
Nah, it's
dark
pink.
gray.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do they probably have black or something? I'm just saying, like, you know, Stanley is no longer. You don't think of like a thermos anymore.
No,
You think of those cups.
I didn't even know they had a thermos before.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about? But in my opinion, if a trend helps you to be more disciplined or helps you in a certain area, I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, like, for example, the carnivore diet is a trendy diet, but it's good for you, right? Like, people benefit from it. But like all trends, there's always going to be haters of that trend. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if it's improving like a person's life somehow, if they do it and it improves their life and there's nothing sinful about it, then let them have it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying because, you know, like old IFB will often like just criticize everything that's trendy and stylish, but just because it's trendy and stylish. So should we be just like, I don't know, Amish?
It is kind of like leaning towards like the Amish mentality.
Is it because they consider it coveting after something, or just because somebody has it, then you also have to have it?
Yeah, probably. They probably just because people want it. But here's the thing: is just like, you know, they covet too. They desire things that they don't call out. You know what I mean? They probably like specific cars or clothing. You know what I mean? It's like the Amish. You know what I mean? Like the Amish they're all like uniform in how they live, but you know, Amish are comparing their buggies. Like one's a little more newer than the other. Or, you know, they're comparing their horses. It's always going to exist to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I think you can desire something without becoming covetous, though.
I mean, if you could get a Stanley,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you could just get it,
I mean, it's a small price to pay if you want to make your wife happy, right?
I don't even think it's that expensive.
it's like $40, I think it is.
Yeah. The one that I got my wife, that big jug, I don't know, I think it was like $100. But it's making her drink more water. So why not?
Yeah.
And, you know, if the girls feel a little stylish as they're drinking water, then so be it. If they want to look a little more trendy and stylish, but it's making them drink water, you know what I mean? Then have at it. You know what I mean?
But do they even look trendy when they drink it, or just?
I'm just saying
they
what
think so.
they
think so.
probably think. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do. And I'm not saying that you have to be trendy to drink water. I'm just saying, like, if it helps someone to do that, to drink water or to be disciplined in a certain area, then so be it. You know what I mean? It's just weird that when people just become a little too overly aggressive, which leads me to a particular point that I've been thinking about. You guys know, like, the crunchy movement?
Yeah.
Like the crunchy mamas?
Yeah, the holistic.
Holistic.
Yeah.
That stuff is good. You know what I mean? But I actually came across a Instagram page, and it's of a crunchy mama, but she's actually making fun of the crunchy mama world. And I actually reposted one of her videos because it's actually really funny. And it's like, you know, she comes home and she sits down and her husband's there. And then she's like, honey, can you give me a foot rub? And he's like, honey, come on. She's like, what? And he's like, well, you're grounding all day. You know what grounding is? Mm-hmm. It's like when you're just walking barefoot. It's just, oh, it's not that bad. But you look at her feet and they're just dirty as hell, just like mud and dirt. And she's just like exposing she's being facetious, obviously, but she's saying like sometimes crunchy mamas are a little extreme on certain areas. And she has another video where she's eating a popsicle and she brings it to her husband. And she's like, "You want a popsicle?" And he's like, and he's not crunchy. So the idea is like she's the extreme one and he's not, right? So he's like, "You want a popsicle?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I love them. I love popsicles." And he grabs it and he starts eating. She's like, "It's bone broth, it's like a bone broth, it's really healthy." And it's like, what in the world, But that's something a crunchy mama would do, So it kind of shows you like the extreme world of it. And the thing is, like, it's good to be a crunchy mama. It's good to be a crunchy person, period. Look up the definition of crunchy mama. It's good to have that holistic view and know what are the dangers of the foods that you eat, the air that you breathe, or the things that you use or whatever, just to kind of be your own doctor, right? That's basically like the philosophy. It's like, be your own doctor, do your own research, know what does that say? The term crunchy mom is typically used to describe a mother or female caregiver who typically follows a natural lifestyle and incorporates it into their parenting. A crunchy mom attempts to avoid modern medicine, limits reliance on technology, and eats only organic foods. So at face value, it's just like, cool, But the thing is like, there's nothing wrong with that. Because you look at it as like, oh, that's good. But sometimes people can become so crunchy that they almost develop like a holier than thou disposition where it impedes them from like socially interacting with others. And then they don't become charitable towards others. Like they can't interact with people. They can't go to people's houses because
some people aren't like as crunchy as them or something.
Or if they're just not crunchy at all.
Yeah.
Like if like she has this one. The lady has this one video where it's like they went to the friend's house and the friend's like, "Oh, you guys," he comes and he brings them like a cup of water, and she drinks it, and the husband's like, "Where'd you guys get the water from?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just tap water," and then she's like, she just spits it out, because God forbid, she should drink tap water.
Yeah, at least it's not Arrowhead.
Yeah, Arrowhead is gross, but obviously it's a joke, right?
I get it.
But the thing is, like, it's kind of showing this world where people can't socially interact with other individuals and have charity towards them. Like they can't drink the water that's given to them. They can't eat the foods that are being presented. And God forbid you should ever have like Thanksgiving dinner with a crunchy family.
Really?
Oh yeah, because like there's certain sugars you can't have, foods that you can't have. This has this is carcinogenic and. Like, oh, don't light a candle, that's really bad. And so it's like a philosophy that's good, but when taken to an extreme, it's really annoying. You know what I mean? Like you don't really want to be around people like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy that they wouldn't have the discretion to just be kind to a person when they go to a person's house or something like that. And not express those extreme views to a person that doesn't really have those views. We're going to talk about biblical views here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like it's a standard, and people can make it a conviction based upon the evidence that's presented out there. But at the end of the day, like as Christians, our Christian values and principles supersede that. So according to the Bible, eat what is before you, asking no questions for conscience sake. And it's the principle there is that you do it for the person who's given it to you. You're being charitable towards that individual. Yeah. They have a weaker conscience than you. You got to be kind towards them and just do it anyways. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's why, like, right now I'm on carnivore. But I think right now is the best time to be on carnivore because I'm not traveling.
It's after the holidays and stuff,
It's after the holidays, but also I'm not traveling because if I travel, I got to eat whatever people put before me.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, oh, no, I can't touch those carbs. I'm on a cut right now. What are you doing to me? You know what I mean? You just kind of like be kind and not be, an obnoxious jerk. Yeah. Because what if like I traveled and I went to someone's house and they made me a meal and it's just carved up?
Yeah, what's in there?
Yeah, oh, can I just like not have this and can I just have this part right here? And it's just not a Christian thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, obviously, it's good to be crunchy. It's good to have that holistic disposition, but you got to be flexible. And most of these people, like the real extreme ones, they're the ones that move from the city and go to the middle of nowhere to live in the middle of the forest somewhere where the air is cleaner, blah, blah, blah. Which, obviously I think anybody would like to do that. But as a Christian, we don't really have the luxury to do that because according to the Bible, we are to center our lives around spiritual things, like the church.
And I've seen a lot of these like crunchy mamas and stuff on like Instagram and stuff, and they'll be like in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and like they want their own farm and they want to just make everything there. And it seems nice, but it's not really something
Not realistic.
I mean, but at the same time, you want to be the center of Instagram. Like, well, what is it? What do you really want? Do you want the attention, or
and
do
at the
you
end of the
want to be
day,
alone?
at the end of the day, again, like if you like in a perfect world, we could move out in the middle of nowhere if there was a fundamental Baptist church there, and there's a lot of people there. But you know what? We don't live in that world. God wants us to be where people are.
Yeah.
And, I'm not against like raising chickens and stuff. I think that's great if you have the capability of doing so. But,
just not at the expense of just being in the middle of nowhere with your chickens and you're not able to go preach the gospel, not going to church.
You're not soul winning. You're not like
everything comes at a
joined
price.
to a church. You know what I mean? And so, and then another thing is like, well, we don't live in the city because of like the air quality is so bad, But at the end of the day, like there has to come a point, and I'm referring to those who are Christians, because people who are just crunchy and like holistic living is a religion to them. They're on a different plane. They obviously don't care what the Bible says, and they can claim Christianity all they want.
Christians should know better, though.
Which there's a lot of them on like social media. They claim to be Christians, but I want to know what kind of church they go to first and foremost. I want to know what their doctrine is. And, I want to see if they take a holistic approach to the Bible and not just pick and choose, you know what I mean? Certain parts of the Bible that aligns with their crunchy philosophy.
Right.
As Christians, we're to take a holistic approach and take the entire Bible and obey all the commandments of God, right? And so for them, it's just like, well, they only take the health aspects of the Bible, and everything else about church and evangelism and soul winning and fellowship and love for the brethren just goes out the window. So, Christians can't be falling into that trap. You know what I mean? And so, but if they do, you just got to remember to be charitable. And the Bible actually says a lot about just like not talking. You know what I mean? Like if you cannot give your opinion because it might like offend your brother, offend your sister, or it's just not necessary, you know what I mean? Then the Bible says you should probably just keep your mouth shut. It's just better that way.
Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day, it's better to just try to have peace with your brethren, And obviously there is a time and place for everything. There's a time and place to like, express that knowledge and talk to your brethren about certain things, but word fitly spoken in due season, how sweet it is. And so, and again, I'm all for the holistic living and all that.
Yeah.
Drinking a lot of water, eating organically, and
staying away from medicine, like modern medicine, like pills and,
Yeah, exactly. And like, for example, my wife and I take a holistic approach to a certain extent in certain areas of our life. Like, for example, we have our babies at home. Like the last baby we had was at home. It was a home birth. The 2 babies prior to that was at a birthing center. I mean, we're kind of moving along to try to like have that liberty to be able to do it as holistic as possible and as natural as possible. But here's the thing, the crunchy mamas, let me show you how extreme they get. Just talk about like birth. Okay.
Oh, I think I know.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with
man.
this. It's like they're so crunchy that it's just like, you should eat your freaking placenta. They encourage wives that once the baby is born, the placenta that houses the baby, like it comes out, and then they're like not at the moment, but like eventually they consume that placenta. Either they consume it by literally eating it, or they put it into pill form. They encapsulate the placenta, and then they take it in pill form. Because they have this view that it's like, oh, it's so good for you, and it levels out your hormones and all this stuff. But here's the thing, though. That's extreme.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, okay, Humans don't learn that from other humans or the Bible. You get that from animals because animals do stuff like that.
Yeah.
When a dog like gives birth, the mom will eat its like umbilical cord and stuff, and just like,
That kind of could be the downward spiral too,
They
because
also
they
eat
get
their own
so
vomit.
they get so natural that now they're looking at the animals
yeah,
as like
they become unnatural.
yeah.
Because you don't, because you like, you don't like, you can't find that in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it's not in the Bible, and it's just such. Because I remember like we were at our old midwife, and she was telling my wife she was trying to like encourage her to eat her placenta, and I was just like, we're getting In and Out. Because there's like an In and Out down the street from like the midwives, and they were like,
You can have it.
we're just gonna do
it's all
our
yours.
regular double with fries and a shake and a Coke. Thanks, but no thanks. That does. Am I supposed to eat that too, or what? Like, is this a 2 for 1? You know, it's just like it's just weird. And they're like, oh, you know, once you have it, you know, women who have taken it, they become, their cheeks get all rosy and stuff. And I'm thinking myself, it's probably like an allergic reaction or something, bro. Like that ain't good.
Now we got makeup at home. We're good.
It's a placebo. It's a placebo. We got makeup at home. It's a placebo effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, for example, we do keep the placebo. we do keep the placenta only because when you have the baby, like that's your responsibility. You got to freeze it. And you got to throw it away
Freeze it. Where?
in the refrigerator, like in the freezer. Where else
Oh,
would we
man.
freeze it, bro? I mean,
I go nuts when like the cucumbers go bad. I can't imagine like, placenta in the fridge. It'll drive me
open
crazy,
the
bro.
what the? I mean, it's not just like out in the open.
How long has this been in here for?
Yeah, it's our job to dispose of it because it's
Where
Where?
are you supposed to?
in
be?
the trash. What do you mean where?
But why do you
Why
have
do
to put it in the fridge for?
Okay, because of the fact that it comes from a human.
See what happens is
Let me explain something to you. So if we were to listen, if
We get the
I
birds
can't
and the
believe
bees
I have
talk
to like,
right now.
I know, like I can't believe I have to
maybe
explain this.
you can just tell us afterwards or something.
Son.
No.
I want to know.
The reason why is because it comes from the body. It has blood. It has all that, all the fluids. So if you just took it and threw it into the trash,
You can put,
what happens to things that came out of a human that's in the trash until trash day comes? It's gonna like smell. It's gonna. It's like it comes from a human. It's like, you understand what I'm saying? So you have to freeze it, okay? And then when trash day comes, then you go throw it in the trash.
Just time to birth right before the trash day, and you're good. You're good to go.
We're leaving that on the podcast so that everyone knows what a stupid comment that was, and that I did not approve of that dumb comment. But anyways, what I'm saying is that the holistic community, there's people that are for it. There's people that are against it. Obviously, I'm one of them. But there's people who are for it and they believe in it. But you don't get that. You get that from animals. You get that idea from animals. And in fact, I'm not fully versed in that whole realm. Okay. I just pay for the babies to be born. But I'm not fully versed in the whole placenta thing. But from what I've seen, it's like the placenta's there to like absorb all the toxins and all the bad stuff or whatever.
Oh, so why would
it's
you
like,
eat it
so
after?
you're
Put it
like
back in.
consuming it. It's like,
Huh.
it's an old wives' tale.
Mm-hmm.
It's an
Yeah.
old wives' fable.
Fable, yeah.
Probably Jewish too.
And it's vain jangling of the holistic world that will increase into more ungodliness and uncleanness. You know what I mean? And it will eat as doth a canker. You understand? And so it's good to exercise yourself into godliness, it's good to do bodily exercise, meaning that you abstain from certain foods and you only eat certain foods, but not at the expense of being charitable towards others and just being obnoxious and being a person who people don't want to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be mature about it, be kind. And obviously if someone's like promoting a particular, let's say for example, that there's an individual who just loves McDonald's, right? And they want to promote McDonald's as being a healthy food and, and they're on opposition of like healthy eating, then obviously you should expose that and be like, no, that's wrong. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to eat and that's your business, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
But to kind of just like tear people down and stuff like that, just because that's what they do, you know what I mean? It's just like, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, when it comes to vegetarianism and veganism, that's a different story because the Bible is against that. You know, that's not something that's taught in the Bible and that should be exposed. But you know what? The holistic group, the crunchy group, they can be as militant as the vegans. You know?
Is this a new fad? Like, how long has this movement been around?
They've probably always been around. But
I mean, there's always been like natural people, but like you got to understand something that's like with the age of the internet, everything's just kind of magnified. So groups grow because of the internet. So there might have been pockets of people who, you know, held to these beliefs, but now more people do because of the internet. And this is, I was talking about my wife, and we'll get to the Jews and their tunnels in just a bit. But you know, I was talking to my wife about this. Like, you think to yourself, like, which one's the right diet? You know, and then some people will be like, it's keto, which I was like that. Other people are like carnivore. No, you got to do a caloric deficit. No, you got to eat vegetables. No, you got to do this, right? And I've come to the conclusion that when you study all of the foods or diets that people have eaten throughout history, you know, a lot of them don't work and a lot of them do. And because we have the internet and information is so readily available to us, we have essentially a plethora of diets to choose from that all work. And so you can just pick and choose whichever one you want because of the internet. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, you just got to choose which one works for you. You know, and I did keto. It worked for me, but I'm not doing it now because I've just learned a little more, and I feel like the carnivore is a better way to go. I've done the caloric deficit. That doesn't work for me as well, but for other people, it does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we live in a day and age where you can just kind of choose which one works best for you, only because all of the information is already readily available to us. Now, obviously, you can't take that approach to the Bible because there's only one truth. But in other areas of life, you can do that. You know what I mean? And so there's individuals who emphasize only powerlifting, myself, and there's other people who are just like calisthenics. Other people are just like jogging. You know, okay, well, whatever works for you. You know what I mean? Because everyone at the end of the day has different goals. People just want a healthy heart, then go run. You know what I mean? I don't run because the wicked flee when no man pursueth. I'm just kidding. It's kind of true though. You know what I mean? But you can choose anything because there's enough information under each category for you to make a good decision. You know what I mean? There's a lot of choices. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's my approach on it. I'm probably gonna preach on the extreme crunchy mama movement. Because it's a good movement, but it's just it ends up delving into a lot of unnatural things too. And at the end of the day, you know what my wife told me? She's like, you know, at the end of the day, all those crunchy people are just fearful people.
Yeah.
They're just constantly scared. They're afraid if they take a sniff of that candle, oh man, like they're done. Or if like, you know.
It gets to like the microplastics that you drink from anything, and it's
yeah.
like it's like it gets to the point where it's like you can't even. Everything's got microplastics in it. How do you avoid microplastics?
Well, how about this? You know what's the most detrimental thing to your health? Stress. You know what induces stress? Fear. So what if like you do all these holistic things, all these crunchy mama things, but then
Makes
you're
you
just constantly
stressed
living
out.
in fear? It's just like you're being counterproductive.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid. There's like a boogeyman
Well,
around every corner.
If you're fearful enough to kind of upplant your family and move them to the middle of nowhere, that's a lot of fear there working in you.
What I'm saying is like you're working so hard to keep your body healthy, but it's simultaneously afraid. And if you don't believe me, just go to the comment section to some of these crunchy mama, and it's just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I do this, and what am I supposed to do? What about this? And it's just like they're freaking out about everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's like,
It's just so vain.
God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a power, of love, and a sound mind. You know, perfect love casteth out fear. And it's not God's will for us to be constantly afraid. And people could say, well, I'm not afraid. I'm just inquiring. No, you scared. You scared.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be inquiring.
I'm not saying no, because you got to inquire about some things.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, come on, Hike.
I didn't know.
See what I mean when people go a little extreme, It's like canker, No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, like, you have to, it's good to inquire, but you can tell that there's fear there. Because it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to do that if I'm not there? If I live in the city, what am I going to do? It's just like they're just constantly freaking out. And when I came out with like the vaccine documentary, that really pushed me over the edge when it came to like the holistic community, because they're constantly contacting me over all these boogeymen. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Not boogeyman, but just like, what am I supposed to do to y'all's vaccinated? It's just like, get saved. You get a resurrected. I mean, I got vaccinated when I was a kid too, but I'm not going to live the rest of my life in fear, because at the end of the day, God can override all the mercury or whatever and things that I can't control. God can still keep me alive longer or whatever,
It's just like, it sounds like extreme carnality.
It is.
You're just in the flesh, and that's all there is for you.
Yeah, it's their religion.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And it's and it's obviously not of God, because of the fact that they're constantly living in fear. It's just like one of the reasons they can't come to a place like we're at,
because we're in the city.
Because we're in the city,
Worried
and
about
the air, what's it called?
Chemtrails?
The chemtrails, and you're breathing all that stuff in. But it's just like, I grew up here. Like, this is where I was born and raised. And at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. And I'm not going to uproot my family to go to some freaking mountain in the middle of nowhere.
Live with you.
and just be
neighbors with you, dude. I don't want to do that.
It's just, and if you think about it, it's just like our immune system becomes stronger when we're around people. Right? Because we're constantly getting their germs. And, like, I grew up on drinking water from a hose, scraping my knees on the asphalt, playing football, bleeding, playing through it, and getting infections. And,
the human body is way more resilient than some of these extreme holistic people would like to think. They think
a lot of these holistic people are just really weak too.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we didn't get COVID. Yes, because you're not around anybody.
Yeah.
You're not around anybody.
It's almost like they're so worried that like one McDonald's burger, and they think like, now I'm gonna get cancer, like, stage 4 cancer now or something like that. And it's just, it's hard to live in that.
You got to be balanced. And again, I'm all for, like, do what you can with what you have. I feel like I heard a sermon about that recently.
Did you guys hear or no?
No, they don't remember. They don't pay attention in church.
Where was it at if you did?
I actually don't remember where I preached that at. Oh, I preached that at Faithful Work. Never mind.
I'll see that.
That's why they wanted to know. You got to do what you can with what you have. So my opinion is what you do is, if like you live in the city and you want to take a holistic approach, then figure out what you can do it, and be content with that, and leave the rest up to God. Yeah. Because God makes up the difference. So, and then the more, resources you have or liberties that you have, expand your abilities to do that. But don't just live in fear because you can't do
and then spread that fear to other people.
And spread that fear to other people.
And if we're referring to a saved individual too, it's like they could live the most holistic life and clean life that they can, but if they're not doing God's will, it's like God could cause them to be sick. God could cause them to
exactly. They can be clean on the outside, but they have not yet cleaned the inside of the platter.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have a clean heart, to be charitable towards your brethren.
Weightier matters.
The weightier matters of the law. And so that's why, it's such a blessing to be a Christian, to be saved, to be a Christian, to have the Bible, because you could be a Christian anywhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't require for you to be in a certain geographical location to be a Christian. And so Christian virtues and practices should be exercised at all times and in all places. Amen?
Amen.
So recently, within the last couple of, by the time of the release of this episode, last week, there's a major controversy in the city of New York where they found an underground tunnel from a synagogue to I think they call it a mikvah.
Yeah.
Which is a Jewish bathhouse.
Yeah.
Right? And, all of the major media companies or whatever who are covering this are just trying to make light of it, and they have all of the common talking points
Yeah.
when anything controversial about the Jews is involved, right? What do they say?
I don't know, like your anti-Semitic
Yeah.
conspiracy theories,
And here's the thing:
rabid
is like
conservatives.
I don't even think they gave time for anybody to come up with any
Yeah.
conspiracy theories, right? Because it happened. Because what happens is like they found the tunnel, and this is more than just a tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Like they found this tunnel, and then immediately it's just like covered in
Yeah,
cement by the
Immediately get
NYPD.
the cement trucks in there.
Yeah, it's just like I thought if Fundamental Baptist Church, if Christian churches
Yeah.
had tunnels under their church buildings going to anywhere,
There'd be a long investigation.
oh, there'd be a huge investigation. They would not cover it up. The FBI would be here. The church would get shut down. Like they would not let Christians off the hook for that one. But somehow Jews in a synagogue can have a freaking tunnel from their synagogue to a bathhouse going under houses.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. They can throw a riot in, because they're trying to fill it up
Yeah, and fight police on
and
it.
fight police on it, and just nothing happened whatsoever. I mean, that's questionable,
Yeah.
And obviously, because it's taking place with the synagogue, the real story is not going to be put out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to cover it up as much as they possibly can. And in my opinion, if there's a tunnel dug by any religious organization, an investigation has to be made. And the reason why, if you could look up the Catholic thing, the reason why, like I told you, in Mexico, I think it was in Mexico, look it up, they had these underground tunnels from the priest room to the
nuns. room or
nuns.
whatever, Yeah.
So they'd meet underground, fornicate, and they found like dead bodies there of babies. They were being aborted there. I mean, that is fact. So when you have, men working in darkness and going under the cover of night,
Yeah,
and
no
it's a
good thing
religious
is happening
group,
there,
like nothing good is happening there.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, first of all, the history of tunnels. You know what I mean? Like,
Before we get to anything
before
else,
we get into the
just the
main
tunnel
topic,
aspect.
just the
of it.
tunnel aspect. Any religious group making any tunnels like that, it's
Should
obviously
raise some
100%
eyebrows.
questionable, suspicious activity. It should be investigated extensively. Diligent inquiries should be made and not covered up because of the fact that religious groups have done this in the past, and there's always something nefarious taking place behind it, right?
And it's immediately too. I mean, normally when it comes to like code enforcement or the fire department involved, normally they'll give you a period of time to, hey, this is out of code, this needs to be fixed, and this is the process. Normally there's a long process for these things.
Yeah.
And this was like immediately like just get the cement trucks there, cover it up.
Yeah.
Well, too, it's just like, yeah, that would happen, right? Like they want it to be fixed, but how much more when it leads to another establishment, right? Because there's differing stories. Like it goes to like a woman's bathhouse, a
And there's
mikvah,
another one with the men's mikvah.
and men's mikvah, and so I don't know exactly which one is the legitimate one.
But either bathhouse, it's
Either bathhouse is obviously
weird
bad.
to have a tunnel going there.
They found what was it? Soiled mattresses
And like
in
a high
the
chair.
tunnels. Yeah, I think there's like blood on the mattress. They found a high chair. I mean, you go in there and you see
Nothing
that.
to see here.
Wouldn't the police
Pour
go in
into
there and say,
concrete.
"There's blood in here"? This looks like a crime was committed or something. It's very questionable, But then you just fill it up and not do anything about it. Now, first and foremost, before we get into the main culprits of this, the NYPD is obviously a very corrupt police organization. I'm just going to say that. And if you look at the history of the NYPD, they don't really have a good track record. And I was talking to you about the whole Son of Sam case in the 70s going into the 80s, where you had the Son of Sam shootings, And the main culprit, who they thought was the only suspect, by the name of David Berkowitz, he was captured, and he admitted to participating in the shootings. And once the NYPD caught him, closed the case, gave promotions, the whole thing was shut down. The problem is that although David Berkowitz confessed to some of the shootings, he said that he didn't do all of the shootings. Aside from that, what are you doing back there? Everything all right, man? What's going on?
Just reading the article.
Other than that, you have multiple eyewitnesses during that time who said that's not what he looked like. Like, I saw the shooter, and that's not what he looked like. And they have sketches of the suspects, looked nothing like him. And so, based upon the eyewitness accounts, there's like multiple shooters, but the NYPD said no, we got our man, and that's it. And what's even more questionable is that when they suspected that David Berkowitz was the shooter, which obviously he did participate in it, they went to his house in a place in New York called Yonkers. And what they did was, when they suspected that a particular car belonged to him, that it was his vehicle, they broke into it, searched it. Well, what is it that you need before doing that?
A warrant.
A warrant. They didn't have a warrant for that. They found the 94 caliber. I think it was like what is it? 94 caliber? Is that a caliber gun?
I don't know.
Who knows about guns here? I think it was a 94 caliber weapon. They found all the stuff. They're like, oh, this is the guy. So then when they arrested him, then they went to go get the warrant and like pursued a judge to sign off on the warrant afterwards. So they did all of these unethical things just to kind of close the case, get their promotions, and move on. But then the case essentially remains, unsolved because of the fact that, according to the eyewitnesses, there were still multiple shooters, and the timing of when he was in a particular place where an eyewitness saw him, and the timing of when a person was shot and killed, it's just like it's impossible that he could have made it there. And so when you look at that whole entire thing, it's just like the NYPD, they look kind of shady.
Mm-hmm. Berkowitz. Is that
Yeah.
Swedish?
No, that's Jewish. My friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, he's part of like a major cult or whatever, which, I mean, come on. But what I'm saying is that, and then I know someone who used to serve in the New York Police Department, and he said, yeah, they're just, everyone's kind of corrupt. They just do whatever they want. And so it really doesn't surprise me that these Jews are digging this huge tunnel, very illegal, very suspect, very questionable.
And
then the NYPD's there just to kind of help out and just fill it up.
Take a couple Jewish blows,
Yeah, because weren't they fighting them or something? Or they're getting out of hand? Pull up some of those videos, though.
This is the one about the monastery. It's kind of hard to find now.
Wow.
When I was looking at some of this stuff as well, like looking into the Jewish tunnel deal with the synagogue, even all these news reports, they all have differing facts about this case too. Just like the mikvah, whether it was a men or women's mikvah, but there was a lot of different people who have very different things on what happened.
Go ahead, press play. What is that? Wild new footage shows the illegal underground tunnel dug by a group of young Orthodox Jewish something. Expand the synagogue.
Oh, they have enough money. They don't need to dig to expand.
What in the
Why are
world?
they?
Arrested 12 young men doing mayhem.
Seeing there's others that say it was 9.
Yeah,
that
some
were
said it was
arrested.
9, some said it was 10, some said it was up to 15 or 12. Imagine these doesn't causing collapse of buildings. I have questions. Yeah, I mean, if
If
I
you have
remember
an hour this
correctly,
week,
you don't
you can
expand.
learn 100
That's
songs
not
on the
a good
piano
one.
by learning.
What was that?
Aren't they all into real estate? They could buy the land if they want to. But obviously they want to hide something. Why else would you do everything underground? Like a rat.
I'm just saying, why is there mattresses in there that are stained? That's just that should be a cause for question there. It's one thing to have a tunnel, but then when you start fighting like evidence in there
Bloody
of foul
mattresses.
play,
Yeah.
then
I saw that mattress, and like where the stain is like obviously somebody lays there, and they bleed. They're gonna bleed.
That's disgusting. And it's crazy that they're going crazy about
defending
defending the whole. It's like, like Sodom and Gomorrah or something.
Yeah.
It's just like they're just going crazy trying to break down the house.
It's like it's that they're implacable.
They're
'cause
rabid.
rabid.
Yeah, you would think like they'd kind of kowtow and just say we've been caught and we don't want to keep fighting it and make things worse.
Or they would want to cover it up or something.
Yeah, they're bold about
They're
it.
super bold because they know they control the media and stuff.
And they're not
They
going
can
to
spin
get
it any
touched.
way they
Yeah.
want.
Any way
they
they
can pay
want.
off the cops probably.
Like what we're saying right now would be considered majorly anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic pastor makes conspiracies about Jewish tunnels that lead to mikvahs, bath houses with bloody mattresses in there. Nothing happened. It's just like weird. Mm-hmm. Man, it's so strange.
And they're really bold. They don't care at all. And a lot of those guys who are getting arrested too, you just see them smiling and laughing about it, and they're still doing the little bobbing and weaving about it.
Bobbing and weaving.
But they just, to me, it just seems like they know.
They're
that
brazen. They're just brazen about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're super brazen about
They're
it.
just gonna get let off the hook.
And someone told me that synagogue is questionable. I mean, all synagogues are questionable, bro. Like, come on, it's a synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think, and I can't prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is opinion. I don't know for sure that there's some sort of human trafficking that was probably taking place there. You don't use that to expand. Some people said, "Oh, they built it during COVID. COVID's over, bro. That was 2020." We've never built tunnels to get to church.
Some people were saying
during
too they
COVID.
were only digging for 6 months. Some said a year, and then some say during COVID time. Is it,
Yeah, see what
Just all
in the
these
world?
different-
well, they're gonna put out differing information and let the people just make a mess of it.
Yeah,
The truth will
and then
never
just
come
calls
out.
anti-Semite to whoever's
Well,
trying
they're
to figure out
very
what's going on.
fortunate that basically the vast majority of the population will just kind of believe whatever it is that they say.
By the end of this all, they're probably gonna come out as the heroes, as the victims.
Oh yeah,
And people are just anti-Semitic for questioning anything about it.
I heard there was like tunnels under like Gaza, and it's like the same thing was going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. But we were talking about a passage in the Bible that is very similar to the actions of these Jews, right?
Their MO.
Their MO. And it's a vision that God gave Ezekiel when he's showing him the
He bring out
greater
the head.
abominations. Yeah, that's when I brought up the head.
Bring it out now.
I should bring it out now. Let me go ahead and read. Do you have the verses there? Oh, you do. What is it, Ezekiel? Yeah, there you go. Hold on a second. Let's see. Let's read it from verse. I'll read verse number.
7.
We'll read from verse
Starting
6. He said, "Furthermore unto me, son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great abominations that the house of Israel committeth here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary. But turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. And he said unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things, and abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst of them stood Jazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, The Lord seeth us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth. He said also unto me, Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Man, I guess
Creeping
they're still doing the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
digging,
Just what they do.
digging tunnels to do abominations, digging tunnels to make to create abominable things, to participate and wicked things.
Yeah.
Why? Because they say the Lord seeth us not.
Yeah.
Ugh. Disgusting. And you know, Ben Shapiro hasn't really said anything about this whole thing this entire time. I could be wrong. Look up if he said anything about the Jewish tunnels. Pretty much, there's nothing going on there. Just a bunch of young Jewish guys. I used to do the same thing when I was young or something. How come he's not speaking out against it? Or just covering it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. But you know, it's basically symbolically representing what the Jews, according to the flesh, according to the Bible, do. What they do in dark places, tunnels, digging, permeating society with their abominations.
Mm-hmm.
There was this guy who was saying, like, for a while, like he lived at like the first floor or something, on the first floor or something. And he said for like the longest time, he just kept hearing Jews, like people speaking Yiddish, like digging under his house or something. He's like, what in the world's going on? And it's crazy that they can just do that and not suffer any repercussions. Like the guys who got arrested, they're going to be released. They're probably already back on the streets of whatever.
I'm sure the judge and the attorney's probably Jewish. The DA.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably down there themselves.
The ancients. The elders.
Man, they're gonna get what's coming to them though.
It's kind of it's one of those things that shows us that even though we have the internet, where just pretty much anything can be exposed, any move you do, anything you say can just be exposed. They could do the worst and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane, you know. And I'm telling you, you know, you have Christian churches ever try something like that, do something like that? Oh man,
Even something slightly out of code or something like that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the city
They
will be all
bombed
over
our
'em.
church. Look at what happened. Look at how they spun that story in the media.
yeah.
How they were the victims and we're the perpetrators, even though we were bombed.
It's crazy. How
And
the
you
media
know,
was
frustrating.
if some Christian church was digging something and they were caught, they definitely wouldn't be brazen enough to just be fighting the police over covering, putting cement in it. I mean, it's just crazy that they're just so bold about it to just. Not only are they caught and they know nothing's gonna happen, but then they'll fight police, not worried about it. They just cover it up, and then they know the media is just gonna, and really it seems like the media's just got all these different stories of what happened and these different facts, and no one's getting it really straight on what happened, and it's just gonna blow over after a while.
Yeah, because the information has become so convoluted, and there's so many different versions of it that people don't really know which one to believe, and after a while they just lose interest.
Like I've heard, apparently on the Wikipedia article of this incident, and it's saying that the fire department found the tunnel, but then on different news coverages, it's saying that one of the, I forget what they call it, but one of the Jewish leaders or whatever at the synagogue found out the tunnel and called the police on it.
Yeah, they're gonna be the heroes. They're gonna be the victims at the end of all this. So
What in the world?
And they're saying
Typical
that the
Jewish
people who
stuff.
dug this were just like these extremist Jews that just did it, when no one, undercover and
But
no
then
one saw.
other ones were saying that it was like teenagers that did it.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
just-
another version is just like, well, they hired people to come and dig this tunnel or whatever. It's like,
Yeah, no one's got their facts straight. And then it's just all these different ideas. All
who
these
is a
different stories.
liar? For he that denied that Jesus is. The Jews are the best at creating the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since the resurrection of Jesus Christ. They just pay people off and say, say that his disciples came by night and took him away, and we will secure you, He's like told the NYPD, say that a bunch of teenagers did and we'll cover you guys.
They love
like the
cover-ups.
NYPD are like the Romans of Jesus' day, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
it's just frustrating.
I'm not really frustrated. I mean, if I think about it quite too much, I can be, yeah. Because it's just kind of one of those things, there's just like no justice. But they're, you kind of wonder how Ezekiel felt when he saw that. It's like, this is happening in my own backyard. My leaders are participating in abominable things, And really what the chapter is about is that God's showing him
Yeah. God sees everything.
that he sees everything. He sees the inner recess of the heart. So no matter how well that tunnel was hid, God saw every single tunnel. He sees all the wickedness that's taking place there.
Yeah.
And he's, they're treasuring up wrath against the day of wrath.
Well, just wondering what the Christian response is going to be.
Well, this is the
these
Christian
Jew
response. The Christian response is from us is like, it's wicked, it's suspicious. The truth fears no investigation.
Yeah.
So why did you cover it up so fast if nothing was happening? Why don't you go and investigate, the bloody mattress and whatever, the what is it? The
high chair.
the high chair and the items that were in there, the destination and the people who did it. The FBI should get involved. That's the Christian response. And you'd say, why? Well, because of the fact that it's a Jewish synagogue. And synagogues are of Satan. That's what the Bible says.
Yep.
Jesus said that they're of the synagogue of Satan. So, it doesn't surprise me that these Nicolaitans are making holes from one place to another. And I don't think they were doing it to go do Bible studies
No.
or to get to the synagogue faster. It's a shortcut or something like that from the mikvah bath house to the synagogue. I just highly doubt that. It just seems like it's a very questionable thing. And, the fact that they covered it up so fast makes you more suspicious.
Absolutely.
And are
But
they ever
you're-
going to have a real story? Are they going to really figure out what actually happened?
No.
Because it's
just-
funny too, because it's everyone's asking all these questions, and the media is like, oh, everyone's all these anti-Semitic comments. Well, why don't you have the official story of what happened? And then
Exactly.
we
Don't
could
ask
put
questions,
this to
Cody.
bed, yeah.
You're thinking too much.
Yeah.
They'll just put another Holocaust movie out like in a month. They'll just pull one out from the library like, oh, we haven't put this one out yet.
Netflix or something.
Yeah.
A new Holocaust survivor. Yeah.
It was 6.1 million.
Yeah, I want to know what other... you're talking about the Zionist Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are they going to say about it? Well, brother, there's a God's chosen people. Where there's a will, there's a way in a hole.
They're holy. Get
They're
it?
holy. They're God's holy people, brother.
Wow.
They walk in the path of righteousness. No, they don't. Anyways, at the end of the day, we don't know the full story. All we could do is speculate.
Probably
and
don't want to know. It's probably so wicked. You better not knowing.
I mean, if that's what happened with the monasteries, and the Catholics are pretty bad.
Yeah, just think
Catholic
what,
Church, just think of what the synagogue of Satan will do. Good night in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You could only imagine. And I'm just thinking, like, if it was just like a regular tunnel that led to, whatever, help you to get to the synagogue faster or whatever, why would you just throw such a huge fit about it? Why would you riot inside for? But, they're just brazen. They don't care. Oh, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
I wish they would have filled it up with concrete while the.
Well,
Never mind. Never mind. Hike, cut it out.
You're going to have to cut that part out.
and they wanted to be in their tunnel so bad.
You stay there forever.
Weird. And it doesn't help that they have a corrupt police system there, too.
Yeah.
They always do things before it gets approved.
And that's just one synagogue.
Oh,
There's so many synagogues out there.
And apparently this synagogue's a really, really big one, really popular. 770 is what it's called. It's like a really big synagogue. All these big rabbis go there.
That one? That specific one?
That specific one that had that tunnel. And then the Jewish leaders there, they claim that they had no idea that this tunnel was there. And it's just crazy. I mean, it'd be like you not knowing that there's some hole in this
hole's
church,
right there, dude.
let alone one of the biggest synagogues.
What is
in
that
the
video of that
US.
guy crawling out of the sewer? Is that Master Splinter or what?
Jewish
You know what I'm
mutant
talking
ninja turtle. Dreidels in a half shell.
Can you pull that up?
Yeah.
That has to do with the tunnel, right? That's a nice little symbol there. You know who made that for us? Louisa Kanzari designed that. What the heck is going on?
A hidden tunnel was discovered under a synagogue right in the heart of Brooklyn. Hard to believe, right?
No, it's
Let's dig deeper into the story.
Oh, very funny.
Directly to the tunnel.
Sorry, we're supposed to show an actual tunnel video. It all started when videos began circulating on social media, primarily on X, showing an altercation between Jewish Hasidic men and New York police following the discovery of a secret tunnel under the global headquarters of a Jewish movement named Chabad Lubavitch, commonly known as 770. The brawl began when the group's leaders dispatched cement trucks to seal the tunnel's opening, with no police presence inside. Proponents of the tunnel then turned violent and tore off wooden panels inside the synagogue. The police were only then called to the scene and arrested 9 people.
See,
The
this one
leaders
says 9.
refused to say when they found out about the tunnel, although word of their existence had been circulating around the community over the past few weeks, according to several worshippers. Those in favor of the tunnel said they were carrying out an expansion plan long envisioned by Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, a key figure in the movement. Some of the group's adherents believe that Schneerson, who died in 1994, is the Messiah and is still alive. Those who built the tunnel reportedly held this belief. They'd set out to carry out this expansion plan by connecting the synagogue to the whole empty space behind it, 21-year-old Zalmi Grossman said, adding that it was what the rabbi wants and what everybody wants. In February 2023, the founder of an initiative named Expand 770, Levi Jacobson, expressed the same desire and conviction.
The Rebbe urged that each and every Jew should participate physically and monetarily with expanding 770.
Following the brawl with the police, Mari Seligson, a spokesperson for the group, condemned the construction of the tunnel, describing it as an act of vandalism committed by a group of misguided and extremist young men. Although social media is filled with theories linking the tunnel to child trafficking, exactly why they were built and what they were used for remains a mystery.
Interesting.
You know, I see
Secret tunnel.
a lot too with these videos. They try to make light of it, like it's just a joke. Like, oh, it's funny. It's like, what the heck is with these Jews? You know,
Yeah.
the music. Dun, dun,
Yeah, very
yeah.
jovial music.
It's like if they were
Goofy, it's
serious
making it
about
goofy.
like, hey, there's like this big investigation, they wouldn't be having that type of music being
Yep.
played.
Yeah.
They're just playing it off like, oh, all these silly Jews. What are they digging this stupid tunnel? Oh,
Well,
whatever.
we're supposed to show you a real hole, a real tunnel. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all intentional.
Oh yeah.
It's very intentional, you know?
They know how to spin a story.
Man, the media is just trash. You can't watch the news. You can't trust any source anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
People
man.
are even getting on like other guys like Joe Rogan because they're just he's not talking like serious like
He's
theories
joking
and
about
stuff.
it.
He's just joking about it and just
Well, it's because they probably the ones who run those companies tell them like, hey, we want you to talk about this, but you got to make like,
Well, the guy who signs his check probably tells him what to say.
yep. And he says you got to make light of it. Make sure you joke about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's a nothing burger. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's what they're just making this whole thing out to be.
They know how to manipulate the
Yeah.
masses very well.
Yeah. Because that's what I hear with most of these people that are discussing this thing. It's just like, oh, it's funny. Social media, they got a lot of, they'll have the Mario music or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's
All
just
the
like,
while, there's like probably children being trafficked through there, being
Mm-hmm.
molested and raped, and like all types of wickedness is taking
it's like,
place.
oh, nothing to see here. It's just these silly, funny Jews that are doing something weird, but whatever. We just cover it up, and they're just silly Jews doing their weird religious practices. Nothing to see here.
It's crazy how something could be so open on the open, and it's just like the king has no clothes on, but just like no one knows. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's crazy. But hey, that's the world we live in. You know what I mean? And if you don't have God, you don't have the Bible, you don't have Jesus Christ, you're not saved, man, that stuff will just drive you into a dark place. Because of your need for justice to be carried out will never be satiated.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing with like the Son of Sam case. There's a guy who like researched that entire case. He exposed all of it. I mean, he found out a crazy amount of information, and he went deep into the occult of what they were involved in and all the satanic things that were taking place, the sacrifices that they were doing. and justice was never served. And in fact, it like killed him. Like he ended up becoming very sick, and that's all he thought about till the very last breath, because he just was so frustrated and angry that justice was never served. And he went down this dark tunnel of conspiracy and all of these nefarious things that were taking place. And it just ate him up inside that justice was never served. And literally on his deathbed, he's still like telling people, hey, go talk to this person and investigate this individual. They're like, dude, you're dying. Mm-hmm. Like, you should just let it go. Like, these are your last moments. You're going to die. And he became like a very bitter, angry, unhealthy person because of it. You think about people who just like, they go into these rabbit holes. Like you could go down pretty deep into these rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. And if you're not saved, it's just gonna
stay there.
Man, it'll destroy you. It'll destroy you. That's why the Bible says to be wise concerning good and simple concerning evil. Yeah. Because it can drive a righteous man mad. That justice is not being carried out in our lifetime. We're not seeing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you put your faith in the fact that God, the righteous one, the judge of all the earth, will do right, it's just like these guys are going to get what's coming to them. I can wait. You know what I mean? I'll wait upon the Lord. Yeah. Because we know that he's going to do it. But obviously it's important to talk about it, though. Yeah. So as to, not explain to our audience that we're not ignorant of what's going on. Mm-hmm. This is what's possibly taken. This is what the Bible says. But at the end of the day, don't go down that rabbit hole too far, because you'll find yourself in a very dark abyss. Yeah.
Same thing with people who follow like politics and they're excited about Trump taking office. Dude, he probably has his own tunnels.
Trump tunnels.
Trump tunnels. Trumples. Yeah. For sure. And they think he's going to fix everything. Mm-hmm. They think everything's going to go back to normal, and it's just like, man, to put your faith in the arm of the flesh is crazy. Yeah. Should never be done. But anyways, the Jews in their tunnels, my friends. And we'll see if anything else comes about this particular story. But wanted to chime in on that, and I felt like it was a good idea for our first episode. Amen. And just what the Bible has to say about that. And so because this came up recently, it basically fits the biblical narrative of,
how the Jews are like.
Yeah. Of how the Jews operate, what they're like, and, they're still up to no good up to this day.
And those are the church-going Jews.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Well, folks, that's pretty much it for episode number 1. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Of course, you can watch the full episodes here on Rumble. And by the way, let me just say this. If you're watching this on Rumble, why haven't you subscribed to it? I mean, you're watching already. Just click the follow button. That's all you got to do. I know this episode is going to hit at least 1,000 views, but the problem is we only have like 720 followers. So some of you are not following yet. So just follow, hit that green, ugly-looking button right there on Rumble. Follow there. You can also follow on Spotify. This will be up on Spotify, although the title will change a little bit for Spotify. And then
twos and their journals.
We'll see how we word it. And then also you can also listen to all the episodes on our website, fwbcla.org, online. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. Looking forward to a great next episode in 5 months. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully sooner
Season 6.
Season 6.
Season 7.
All right, folks. Have a good night.